Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. Boom, good day. I'm bringing you the best news there is out there. Um, this is Laura Ingraham. She's from Fox News, but she hits the nail right on the head. But I want to add a little more to it. Um, Laura talks or brings in a Muslim doctor who is sharp, good looking, and she hits the point right on the head with Omar. So here, and it's Dr. Quanta. I never heard of this gal, but she's sharp and she says some very important things. Here goes.
Next guest is an American Muslim doctor. She says Congresswoman Omar is an embarrassment and a disgrace to the Muslim community. Joining me now is Dr. Qanta Ahmed, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and a counselor at the USC Shoah Foundation. Doctor, you also say that Omar is not the victim she portrays herself to be. Great to have you on. Why is that?
Now, she isn't the victim she portrays herself to be. We'll have to get into more on this, but she's being used by the party to divide this country. Omar's being used by the Democratic Party to divide this country, emotionally, politically, and otherwise. But listen to this, and I got a real eye-opener on this, Dr. Quanta, and what she says about Omar.
It's just diabolical that she commits yet another violence against the families of survivors of 9/11 and the families of victims of 9/11. Foremost, I'm a physician who takes care of people that have survived or had diseases complicated by the World Trade Center attacks. That was devastating remarks that I actually heard while I was in Africa, in Rwanda, commemorating a genocide there. She is depicting in this diminishment what I would describe as a profound denial of 9/11. And as you know, I work a lot with anti-Semitism, and it reminds me of the mentality of Holocaust deniers, or, as we've seen in Rwanda, there are some who would deny the genocide there too. So this...
Now, let's back up. This Dr. Quanta works with anti-Semitism. And she said this mindset reminds her a lot of Semitism and denial that it actually exists. There's very interesting correlation. So we're seeing a repeat of history here and a political tactic used here in Omar that should be brought up by the Democratic Party, but it's not being. And again, the party needs to be held accountable for promoting better values. And this goes in both parties. Both parties. Rhino Republicans need to be held accountable for their crap. The very best in our parties need to be brought out, and it needs to be united, not divided. The very best in this nation needs to be brought out and united, not divided. And again, the very best in our religious denominations need to be brought together, united, not divided. And so here's more of what she says. It's Dr. Quanta.
This denial raises in me a couple of questions. Does she really think 9/11 was not an Islamist, jihadist attack which came from within the Muslim fold? The Quran tells us, Islam tells us, we must be strict in observing justice, even if it means bearing witness against ourselves, against our kith and our kin. And it also...
Wow, now that statement I've never heard before. But that, again, must be some of the best in the Quran. Remember, bringing out the best in your religion and the best in yourself is always going to benefit yourself and others and your community and your profession, etc. Bringing out your best. Omar is not bringing out her best in the Muslim faith, period. He's not bringing out the best in the Democratic Party, period.
Also tells us we have to do that with impartiality. We cannot be biased if we have certain prejudices. She harbors prejudices. She diminished the worst attack on this country since Pearl Harbor, and she does an assault on my patients, on all families who are grieving for their survivors. It's despicable. Worse is that opponents, whether in her party or not, are shielding her from the kind of searing criticism she deserves.
Again, the party is not criticizing her, they're shielding her, they're promoting her. Again, this divisiveness has to stop. Again, it's Roger Mark from Village Montana. To give you a full link on this, I'm sure there's much more. And Ingraham says herself, Laura says, that there's going to be a full hour on this. I'll have to look and see if that's already come out.
Well, Dr. Ahmed, we're going to have an entire hour on just this conversation of Islam in the world today, especially...
Okay, I screwed up. It's Ahmed on this. So, Ahmed, excuse me.
...its role in America. And this conversation should focus on the facts. You just laid out a whole bunch of them. We really appreciate your being with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. And if I can just say, this observation of denying 9/11 was made to me when we discussed this in Rwanda with Muslims, with African Muslims.
We're going to keep this conversation going, but we appreciate your joining us.